Alright, so before we get started, you're going to need some necessary tools for web development. As we're only doing front-end web development just with HTML and CSS, all we're going to need are two things. Both are available for free. The first one is a web browser. I use Google Chrome. Your web browser, for those of you who haven't heard the term before, it's just the thing that you use to browse the internet, but you can also use it to open any web page, even if it's just on your computer, written in a text file. It basically interprets what we're building today, HTML and CSS, and displays it. So that's very important for what we're about to do. The second thing is a code editor, and I use one called Atom. It's developed by GitHub and is one of the more popular ones, but you can use whatever you want for either. In terms of browsers, most people use Firefox, Safari, Internet Explorer, or Edge. That actually covers 90% of internet users. So Firefox and Chrome, which is the one I use, are available on Windows, and Safari is available on Mac, and I'm pretty sure Internet Explorer or Edge, which is the newer version, is just Microsoft. So I think that's only PC. But I would recommend Chrome, Safari, or Firefox. So I've got these all installed on my computer as well. Let me just open Firefox as well. And the reason why I recommend these three is they all come with developer tools. What I mean by that is if I go into Google Chrome, which is my preferred browser, and I press Alt-Command-I, this will bring up my developer console. And you may not understand what's going on in all these different tabs here, but it's very powerful to have this. This makes it much easier to debug. We can edit our website or any web page on the fly to test new things. We can see styles that are applying. Yeah, it's very, very good to have these kind of tools when you're developing for the web. Safari, I believe it's called Web Inspector. Show Web Inspector. No, I think we need to go to an actual page first. Let's just go to google.com.au, show Web Inspector. And as you can see down here, we have a similar interface. And on Firefox, what do they call it? Console. I just use Chrome, so I'm not sure what they call it, but we'll find out in just a sec. They just call it the inspector. So you can go into, I think, Tools, Web Developer, and click on any of these to get a similar interface. You'll see the inspector where you can inspect elements, console, debugger. Again, don't get overwhelmed by all of this stuff. I'm just letting you know in terms of choosing your browser. If you just stick to Chrome, Firefox, or Safari, you'll be more than okay. And if you want to follow along as closely as possible, Chrome is definitely a good option. The second thing you're going to need is a code editor. I've been using Atom for a while now and I really like it, but there are other options, other free options like Sublime Text. You could use Vim, or you could use another one called Brackets. All of these I'm quite sure are free and they all work in a similar way. Again, if you want to follow along as closely as possible with what I'm doing and you just don't have a preference towards a code editor, you can just choose Atom. One thing I should say is technically, like, if you're on a PC, you could use Notepad to develop web pages as well. I'm pretty sure on Mac I could use TextEdit theoretically to create web documents, but you won't get all the special features that make it easier to develop for the web as you would on a code editor like Atom, Vim, or Sublime Text. So I would highly recommend picking up a proper code editor and not developing through Notepad or TextEdit. Again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, just download Atom or Sublime Text or Vim and you'll be sweet. So if you've got a code editor and a web browser, you're pretty much ready to go. Those are the two things that you really need. But in terms of knowledge, if you're starting from scratch, I guess, if this is your first time learning about web development, I definitely recommend you go and check out one of my previous courses. So you can just head to my profile, and my previous course, Understanding Web Development, A Beginner's Guide to the Web. This will give you an overview of all of web development, and so I highly recommend anyone coming to my courses after that one to go back and refer to that one. We talk about concepts like HTML and CSS, but also how that fits in with back-end programming, the difference between front-end and back-end, how to deploy your websites, getting a server, all those different things. I just provide an overview of web development in that course, and so I highly recommend that one first, just so you know where HTML and CSS are fitting into the overall picture of web development. Otherwise, if you feel you have a good understanding of web development, or you've already taken this course already, we're pretty much ready to dive straight in and get started with some HTML. So yeah, I'm really excited to get started, and I will see you in the next video.